Topping today's news, the newest member of parliament for West Grand Bahama and Bimini officially sworn in today. The leader of the opposition dismissing the call for a convention by former DPM Bannister. We hear more on the new detention center regulations, and the minister responsible for Junkanoo gives an update on ticket sales. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jarino Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News, and it is a pleasure to have you join us.
I, Kingsley Smith, do swear that I have no knowledge of any cause or impediment why I am not capable of sitting voting as a member of the House of Assembly of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas for any constituency within the same, according to the tenor and true meaning of the Constitution and the Public Relations Act, or any enactment amending or replacing the same. So help me God.
There has been great anticipation leading up to today's session in the House of Assembly as Kingsley Smith, the newly elected member of parliament for West Grand Bahama and Bimini, was expected to be officially sworn in after his and the Progressive Liberal Party's by-election victory. We hear more about today's proceedings in this next report. Kingsley Smith, the newly elected member of parliament for West Grand Bahama and Bimini, was officially sworn in before a packed gallery in the House of Assembly this morning, with many of his family and friends making the trip from Grand Bahama. Following the swearing in, MP Smith was then welcomed to Parliament by House Speaker Patricia DeVoe.
I would like to start by congratulating the newly elected member for West Grand Bahama and Bimini. I would like to take this opportunity to officially welcome you to the House of Assembly, where we do the people's business of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. You are now one of the 39. I would like to admonish you to always put God first in all that you do. Take with you your pride, honesty, integrity, and humility, and I promise you that you will have every success. Welcome to the House of Assembly.
Prime Minister Philip Davis began by saying the occasion is a red-letter day. He went on to welcome the newest member of the House while expressing confidence in the abilities of MP Smith.
So, Madam Speaker, I remind the member and members of Parliament, being a member of Parliament is a great privilege, and with it comes responsibility. The people have placed their trust and confidence in the honorable gentleman, just as they did to each and every one of us from our various respective constituencies. Again, I have every confidence that the honorable gentleman will deliver for them.
The Prime Minister went on to caution the new member of Parliament to remain focused and disciplined to ensure success in his political career. Leader of the official opposition, Michael Pintard, also took the opportunity to welcome Mr. Smith into the House of Assembly, noting that as it relates to getting things done for the West Grand Bahama and Bimini constituency, he would have the support of the opposition.
We want to say to you that we wish you every success. Because at the end of the day, if you do well in fulfilling the few $100 million pledges made by the government, you will transform the lives of people in West Grand Bahama and Bimini. And quite frankly, we believe that you will hold the government's feet to the fire as well in asking them to continue to do the things that they have committed. On our side, we will give you our support because we know that the needs are great.
In his response and in his first address in the House of Assembly, Mr. Smith, MP Smith, expressed an overwhelming sense of humility and purpose as he thanked all those that helped his successful campaign. Again, he replaces the late Obie Wilshcombe as the new member of Parliament for West Grand Bahama and Bimini. Meanwhile, Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard slamming former Deputy Prime Minister Desmond Bannister, who in a letter to the party that was supposedly leaked calls for a convention at the earliest possible date. Mr. Bannister said a convention would serve as a referendum on Mr. Pintard's leadership and that any delay would diminish confidence in his leadership amid the already visible division in the F&M party. Well, Mr. Pintard says that those comments by Mr. Bannister are both unhelpful and unfortunate.
We expect that this will be a blip on the radar come 2026. We'll be successful in replacing this administration, but it is unhelpful. And if you have worked to build an organization, the last thing you want to do is be duplicitous in releasing a press release disguised as a letter because you know it's unhelpful to the organization. And so it's most unfortunate to see what he has condescended to. And we're pulling for him. We're hoping that he would recognize that he has some degree of credibility left in the country, and he ought to use it so we could improve the conditions that Bahamians face.
Mr. Pintard maintains that Mr. Bannister would better serve by weighing in on matters that are relevant to his former post as Minister of Public Works in the Minnis administration.
One would think that if a former Minister of Works is going to weigh in on issues, they would weigh in on issues that affect the Bahamian people, which is the purpose for which I'm going into the Parliament of the Bahamas. And so it's most disappointing that he did not direct his attention to a ministry that he had oversight for to comment on the energy crisis that we're facing in the country. And if Mr. Bannister is concerned about the development of the Bahamas and the condition of Bahamian people, he should have directed his attention to those issues. He might better serve the country by weighing in on a more consistent basis about the way forward as it relates to unregulated development or shantytown. He or any other past minister, persons who have served in such privileged position, if they are interested in helping the Bahamian people, they would provide advice when we reach out for advice, or otherwise they would provide advice so that we can improve the conditions of our people.
There are murmurs within the F&M that there are some that are questioning the strength of Mr. Pintard's leadership. Asked if he is worried about the upcoming party convention that is scheduled for sometime next year, the party leader says, as far as they are concerned, the F&M Council welcomes anyone who has concerns. However, he says no one has come forward.
No, which persons? We won practically 3-1. They'll have a chance when they are ready to test it again. Those that are speaking in the public domain, seeking to undermine the work we are doing on behalf of the Bahamian people, enjoy less than 25% support in the Free National Movement, evidenced by the last convention and evidenced by the fact that they do not bring their issues to the council, which is the highest serving body outside of convention. So we have very little concern.
Giving no specific date, Mr. Pintard confirms the Free National Movement will hold its national convention between February and October in 2024. Once the new detention center regulations announced by Alfred Sears, the Minister of Immigration, and the National Insurance Board are in place, there will be a new commission formed to govern all aspects of those regulations that have been absent from the Carmichael Road Detention Center since it opened about 20 years ago. Minister Sears explains.
I wish to highlight a few of the new provisions. For the first time, Madam Speaker, an independent review visiting committee will be established and be appointed to inspect the state of the premises and the treatment of detainees. The commission will be authorized to hear complaints or requests of detainees and investigate every aspect of the life and operation of detention centers. The commission will comprise 10 members from all facets of our society, including civil society, the Red Cross, the Bahamas Christian Council, the Office of the Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, as well as the government ministries such as social services, health and wellness, education, and the Ministry of National Security.
Minister Sears says once irregular migrants end up in our detention facilities, they will be assured of all rights and privileges that are mandated and expected by international law. He noted that the eyes of the world are on the Bahamas. He revealed a 2-week visit to the Bahamas from the United Nations Working Group of Arbitrary Detention, which began last week.
The world is watching us in how we treat foreigners in our midst. On Monday, the 27th, which is Monday past, A delegation of 6 persons from the United Nations Working Group on Arbitrary Detention traveled to the Bahamas to commence a 12-day extensive tour of all facilities within the Bahamas in which persons are detained and to conduct interviews with detainees and other stakeholders. I wish to assure all our local, regional, and international partners that the Bahamas government is cognizant of its responsibilities and will continue to improve its compliance with all its international human rights obligations.
The UN visiting group is expected to hold a press conference to share their findings and to make recommendations. And finally, in this segment, the Royal Bahamas Police Force recognizing 4 local heroes on Monday, presenting them with awards for their bravery. Keyshawn Marshall, Margot Adderley, Constable 4432 Miller, and Chief Superintendent David Lockhart were awarded for their response to the near drowning of 16-year-old Sania Penn that occurred on Sunday, October 22nd. Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernanda praised the awardees for springing into action after witnessing the vehicle the victim was in go overboard near the Arawak Key Bridge.
I believe that this occasion was indeed a good act of bravery by persons who saw what happened. We know that, we have people who just stand by and just record incidents and just set it out and fail to take some action to assist somebody. But during this incident, you had some brave people who sprang into action. A young man who was present and saw that. He dove into the water and was able to retrieve the young girl from that vehicle, assisted by 2 officers who was present at the time after escorting the parade, the youth parade there.
Addington Jones, the grandfather of the victim, thanked her heroes and recounted how he learned Sania was trapped in the submerging vehicle.
She was talking to me on the phone when they was board in the car. So she called me and asked me, say, they left me in the car, grumpy, what are I supposed to do? I tell her, first thing I told her was to calm down. And she said, after that, the phone went dead, and I called 919, and the young lady on the line told me, say, what happened, what happened? I told them the car went overboard out Arawak Key. So she said, where exactly did the car went overboard? So I tell her, say, was by Goldie, but they've gone over on the other side up from the police station. That's where the car went over.
Marshall was recognized for diving in to rescue Sania, while Adderley, Miller, and Lockhart were recognized for their life-saving efforts in CPR. Chief Superintendent Lockhart detailed what it took to help save her life.
Sania is my adopted daughter now. From that day to this day, me and her mother, we speak probably on a daily basis as to Sania progress. I would implore everyone to take first aid classes. First aid was what was able to assist me in bringing Sania back. When she was handed to me from the water, she was unresponsive, not breathing at all. Margot was the only person that stood by and was able to give Sania breath while I did the respiration, chest compressions. And it was with Margot's assistance that we was able to bring Sania around.
The accident left the 16-year-old in critical condition and in hospital for a week. She has now fully recovered and thanks everyone that has helped to save her life. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.